So my thoughts on Oscar Wilde, I thought the book was pretty decent. I liked how the narrator kind of switched often in kind of the story, like the plot changed a little bit every so often. I thought that was pretty interesting. Kind of, it gave the book kind of a nice flow. I think this book is pretty similar to Chronicle of Death Foretold, um, because in both like the men who have a lot of money and a lot of power are able to get a lot of women. Um, Bayardo is able to get Angela because of all his money and all of his power, and the gangster is able to get Lola because he gives her like lavish items and they go on lavish vacations. And also in both books, people are like afraid to they're afraid to like talk and like stand up because they're afraid of like what will happen to them. Like in Chronicle of a Death Foretold, everyone was afraid to talk about the murder because they didn't want to be like the tattletale. And then in Oscar Wilde, everyone's afraid to like speak up because of Trujillo and like what will happen if I speak up and Trujillo might come for me. Um, some like real world connections. I think a lot of people can relate to Oscar and kind of his problems with his self image. And like he's worried about how like others perceive him, and he also doesn't really have a lot of confidence in himself. I think that's similar with a lot of people today. And also, I think the family problems are pretty relatable as well. So a lot of people struggle with like family problems. Um, some like personal connections that I made. Um, my favorite character was Junior, because he lived with Oscar during his time at Rutgers, and even though it might have been only to get Lola, he gave Oscar a friend, and he knew that Oscar was kind of hard to deal with, but he still did it anyways, and he kind of cared for Oscar and just gave him someone to talk to. And a theme that I found interesting was kind of how much power the men had compared to the women. Like, for example, Trujillo is basically able to get any woman he wants. Um, like Jacqueline Abelard's daughter, um, he didn't even really know who she was, but he was still able to like lure her in because of all the power he had. And then also the gangster in Lola, he kind of just left Lola by the wayside because he was doing something else. And then Lola got punished because of him, because the gangster's wife, who was a Trujillo, kind of punished her. And I just thought there was such a huge gap between um, the power that men had and the power that women had, and I thought that was pretty interesting.